So the name of the talk today is Baby Steps. And that is the recipe for change. And as I talked to you about earlier, there is only one power and one presence active in the universe and in our lives: God. Right? When we can look at a picture like this, it is so easy to see the divine in those faces. Right? The little ones, when they come up later, so easy to wrap your arms around them. But look at that face, those eyes, just filled with wonder. And know that's you. Each and every one of you looked exactly like that. And each and every one of us are continuing to step into the things we need to do to change, to grow, to expand, to fulfill our divine purpose here in life, to fulfill the principle that there's only one presence in the universe. That means it's us, folks. It means it's this little baby. It means it's the person sitting next to you. It means it's that person you don't like, whether they're across town, across the world, or not even on the planet anymore. They are part of the one presence. Now, today we're talking about baby steps, because it's not easy just to really love them instantly, totally, completely. But anything and everything is achieved by small, incremental steps, right? We don't get anywhere in this world in one giant leap. Even if you see an athlete do the giant leap, it has been years of training. And I get to have thousands of baby pictures today, so get ready for cuteness. This one is particularly powerful for me, this baby trying to get out of the sandbox. It's like, oh, this is too limiting, I want to play outside this box, right? But baby steps are not small for the baby, right? This effort that he's making, whoever it is monumental. The baby steps are life-changing. It takes incredible effort, concentration, and practice. And as our daily word that Francine read to us earlier says, lots of falling down. So everybody thinks it's adorable when a baby falls down. Just adorable when they land on their tushy. And we run over to comfort them and to laugh with them and have fun. But when we fall down, do we do that to ourselves? Do we laugh and giggle and think, oh, how fabulous, they're trying something new? These steps that the baby takes and each of us take help. But they bring us into this vast new arena where we get to play in fields and in streams and in oceans that we've never experienced before. This image, can you imagine and remember the first time you stood in an ocean, when you felt the waves lapping at your feet? Do you remember when you first consciously remember it? Or do you remember when your parents brought you to a shore for the first time and put you in the vastness of the ocean? And how that changed your horizon, your vision, and your idea of what is possible. Each time we take that step forward, we shift our vision to what could come next. And here's the thing, not a single one of us do it alone, right? Not a single person ever does it alone. There's someone who's guiding us to these moments where we get to play with leaves, play in the ocean. And that person usually is a parent, but doesn't have to be. It can be an aunt or uncle. It can be a teacher, a caregiver. It can be a stranger on the street that opens a whole new world to us. But each and every baby step along the way, there's someone cheering for us. And somehow we forget that. We get to be these ages, the ones who are sitting up here in the sanctuary today, where the kids are all being played with downstairs and supported and guided and cared for. We forget that we're not alone. There's only one power and one presence active in the universe and in our lives, God. We are never, ever alone. Right? But we think we've got to struggle, we've got to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, that we've got to figure this out and we've got to do it alone because no one's helping us. Well, if that's your affirmation, congratulations. It's a wonderful affirmation. No one's helping me. I've got to do this all by myself. Whew, how's that working for you, as Dr. Phil would say? Remember that someone's there holding your hand. Someone's holding your hand to take you to the next level. Whether it be your spouse, your friend, your partner, or the energy of life we call the divine. Before you know it, you're not walking. You're running down the street. And those of us who are parents and grandparents and uncles, we all know this. They go from not being able to walk to running away from you before you can blink. Right? And that's what we do. We run away from our first parent figures, and we forget that we're not doing this all alone, and that we're not on our own power, but that we are all part of something larger than ourselves, and that each and every step is guided and protected. And we have to commit. A baby would never, ever take its first step if it gave up after its first fall. Or if it looked at its parents and said, you guys are doing that all wrong, this walking thing. But even if a baby's parents don't walk, if the parents of the child are incapable of walking themselves through some ability or lack of ability, the child will continue to learn to walk because it's in their genes, it's in their soul. But so often what we do is we decide we want a new goal in life, right? So I want a six-pack. Right? I really want a six-pack. I just don't want to listen to the advice that would get me a six-pack. I don't want to give up this food. I don't want to actually do sit-ups. I hate sit-ups. I think they're the dumbest exercise ever invented. But that's what would get me a six-pack. So what do I want to do? I'm going to hire a trainer so I can ignore their advice. How many of us have done that? Do we want to pay for the gym membership and never go? How many of us have done that? Do we want to buy the diet food and leave it in the cupboard till it's past its expiration? How many of us have done that? What takes to actually walk down the street and take that baby step is commitment. Commitment to do the painful thing so that you get the result you want. To shift out of this cocoon that we've insulated ourselves in and break through is not an easy process. Yet, as we have learned before, if the butterfly doesn't go through that process, if it doesn't force its way out of the chrysalis, it can't fly. It needs the struggle, the push-up, the sit-up, the food choices are all part of that goal. So whatever your goal is, financial security, financial abundance, out of debt, new relationship, all those things take some level of discomfort for you to achieve them. The falling, the struggle, the hurt, the pain is part of the process of transformation. But somehow here in Unity, we get this idea that if I affirm it, I just say, I am wealthy. I am debt-free. That we won't actually have, or I have a six-pack. I can draw it on, but that doesn't really mean I have it, right? That we will not experience the discomfort. This weekend, I was up at a retreat a Stanford retreat up in the Sierra Nevadas. Beautiful, beautiful gift. amazing gift of my life that I get to sit at this beautiful lake just south of Lake Tahoe and relax. But I heard some amazing stories. Someone was asking JD and I, we were doing a workshop on public speaking, and they asked, how do you deal with when, leaving people in tension as part of the idea of storytelling? And my response was, you have to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable with the discomfort of your audience. If you want your audience to be happy all the time, then you're never going to actually push the envelope. So I'm here to make you uncomfortable. Fair warning, that if you want your life to change, you have to change. If you want the world to be different, you have to be different. You cannot complain about the world and then say, but it's not changing. We must commit to being the change the world needs. We must commit to making the personal changes to achieve our personal goals and the long-term goals. Another amazing story that I heard isn't on this slide, but I'll use this one because somehow the next slide didn't show up right. I have to stay committed. And I loved this when I found it. Please stay on the path. Please stay on the path. And usually that means don't go off onto the grass. And I'm here to tell you, walk on the grass. Walk on the grass. Take the path less traveled, but stay on your personal path. Stay on the path that's important for you. There was another story I heard up at Sierra Camp that was truly illustrative of this staying on the path and the baby steps. This woman gave a talk, and she is deaf. She was born deaf, never could hear. But her mother, from the time she was an infant, held her and spoke to her. And for hours every day, she would do word time. And the mother would hold the infant and say, up, up. And then she would take the baby and walk up the stairs with it, going up, up, up. Because this mother knew it was incredibly important that her child learn to speak. Later, this woman reported that she asked her mother, why? Why didn't you just teach me sign language? And she said, I wanted you to be able to communicate with everyone in the world. That was my goal. So day after day, she would walk her up the stairs going up, up. And then she'd take the little baby's hand and put it on her throat and go up, up. And when this young woman, now a Stanford MBA grad, was 2.5 years old, she looked at her mother and she said, up. And word by word, step by incremental step, this mother and this child changed the trajectory of their life. Commitment, dedication, love, focus. That this woman then stood in front of hundreds of people and said, I'm here that we may all be lifted up. I'm here that we may all be lifted up. Each and every one of us have something that we are longing for the world, for ourselves, for someone else. And whether we carry them up, whether we lift them up, or we upgrade our own thinking, the world needs to shift. The world gets to shift. The saying is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And if I had updated the slide deck correctly, you'd see the last thing is that baby climbing out of the sandbox again. And baby steps are not small for the baby. They are a miracle. They are a miracle. And so are you. Each and every baby step you take, each incremental step towards a larger goal of being who you were really meant to be, of transforming life and lifting others up, is a miracle. A miracle. And I'm here to tell you, if other people don't see it, I do. That you're sitting here, that you're sharing with others, that you've transcended and transformed whatever you've been through to get here, is a miracle. You are astonishing. You hear that? You are astonishing. Everyone on live stream, hear that? You are a miracle. And I am here to lift you up. Namaste.